Happy Memorial Day, everybody. I had to get on here because there was a question that was just burning in my heart. And the question was, what does freedom really cost? Today is Memorial Day. Very few people that are under 50, unfortunately, they've been doing a survey and they said they don't even really know what Memorial Day is. I'm not on here to talk about what Memorial Day is. I did want to get on here and just give a few thoughts on America. This is our country. This is where we live. This is where everything that we know has been taught to us. In the history of the world, countries have come, empires have come, kingdoms have come, and they've gone too. And here we are, America. I always remember I think it was in middle school, and I was learning about the Roman Empire. And what I thought was so fascinating about the Roman Empire is that the Roman Empire was in existence for over 700 years. At that time, I think I was in the 6th or the 7th grade, and I was like, America is only I think at that time, maybe 225 years old. And so, immediately putting two and two together, I was like, oh my God, how long will America last? If the Roman Empire lasted 750 years or so, and we're at 225 years, I'm asking myself this question. Now, that's when I was in the 7th grade, and wow, that has been over 30 years ago. And I always have had an affection for America. Yeah, I was born here, but my birthday is on the 4th of July. And every year on the 4th of July, since I think the first 4th of July that I remembered was when I was 5 years old, and I was terrified of the fireworks. But I found out that day was a very special day. In the history of countries coming into power, becoming countries that are birthed, July 4th is significant in that was the day that we officially won the battle against those who we were trying to separate from. Those who had rule over us, England, thank God, we're chief allies now, but that was 250 years in the making. Britain was the greatest superpower at that time, and when America went on to begin to separate themselves, England wasn't having that because we was making them money over here in the 1700s. And so as we were seeing that the injustice and the disparity, now I'm not even talking about slavery yet, I'm just talking about just as a country who has gone to set forth and become a country on another continent, as Britain did, as we know that Britain has very, very many territories in Jamaica and Canada and South Africa. Britain really got out there. But when America, when they went to go plant America, that land had its own plan. That land began to taste what it tasted like to be birthed as an American country. And this entire thing, it started to move into what we see now. There were so many people that gave their lives, even back then. That was in the Revolutionary War. In the Revolutionary War, when it was actually the revolution against England and the taxing that they were doing on America from across the water. They were getting most of the profits and different tariffs and just streams of money from the United States. America was not having it. And I think this is maybe where the American fighting spirit came from. And when they began to start taxing America excessively, this is where you hear about the Boston Tea Party. They were like, you can take your taxes and your tea and you can go jump in the lake with them. And that's exactly what they ended up doing. And that triggered a series of events that led up to the Revolutionary War and led up to the Declaration of Independence, ultimately being signed on July 4th, 1776. When I finally learned that about my birthday, I was like, wow. It was something about that made me want to actually enlist in the Marines. I was about 16. I was like, I'm going to go to the Army. Because I love my country. It was kind of like a blind love and devotion for America. But it was one that, it's kind of interbred, but you don't necessarily just be talking about it like America. No, we don't. We're not that kind of country anymore. And I think the main reason why I just had to come and share some thoughts on it is because the state of America today, we have declined in 250 years from having that fighting spirit of being independent, to have our freedom to worship the God that we wanted to worship. That was another one of the persecutions that we actually ended up experiencing. It was the persecution of the Protestant movement, because over there it was heavily Catholic. But if you didn't, if you weren't Catholic, you were outed. If you landed in the Protestant camp, then you was a black sheep. And so under that persecution and desiring to have the freedom to worship the God of the Bible that they had expounded upon. I'm not even going to get off into the Protestant Catholic split, but the Protestants expounded on some pieces, and they brought those books in there, because there's books in the Catholic Bible that's not in the Protestant Bible. And when they brought those things, it started this new movement of worshiping God outside of religion. And that's, we don't see enough of worshiping God outside of religion. That's a whole nother thing. But that was another thing that America was built on. So we were built on the freedom and the desire to have our freedom for our money, for our living, for our worship. And we weren't just worshiping Muslim, Allah and Buddha. No, we were completely worshiping Jehovah, the God of Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. And here we are again. When you look at the origins, some of the biggest blockbuster movies have been origin movies that have came out after the first movie has came out. X-Men Origins, Star Trek Origins, I'm not even going through it because I can't even remember them, but it's so many movies that talk about the origins. And I think that America, what they do not do is look at our origin enough and be reminded of our foundation. Men over the years have come and gone. They've had entrances and they've had exits in our government. And I think sometimes where our lack of patriotism comes in at is the fact that it's like we're in America, we're on the North Continent, but then at the same time we have two Americas. We got the government of America, and then we have the American people. The American people were given a way in which to bring their government into a checks and balances kind of system, so that no one person could make the decisions for the entire country. That's what a king does. That's what a tyrant does. The people have no say. But in America, we were so much regarded to our founders that they wanted to make a way to where we all had a way and a say in what our government looked like. And over the years, we've had elections. We've gone through our first president, and now we're getting ready to elect our 47th president. I'm sorry. We're getting ready to elect our 47th president. And just from what I learned in history class, and like I said, I'm not even addressing slavery, because that is I already know y'all. I'm just talking about the birth of America, our legislature, and where we're at. Where is the patriotism? Where is the pride in America? One of my favorite things that's coming out that people are saying, like, you have the right to burn the American flag, but you should wrap yourself in it first. And all these people are actually here. We had Dearborn, Michigan, just a few weeks ago, holding rallies, hollering on American soil. Death to America. It will always be my belief that if you feel big and bad enough to go into any country, it ain't got to just be America. But if you're going to come into America and talk about death to America, you need to leave out of here. You really do. Why are you here? What is the purpose of you being here? The very freedoms that we fought for. And when I tell you that America has a fighting spirit, I mean America has a fighting spirit. We went through the Revolutionary War. And because we disagreed on slavery, we went through the Civil War. And after that, we ended up being brought into World War I, World War II. And after World War II, after we had lost so many men, we ended up going into Vietnam War, which was a war that was being avoided until, like I said, these people in government, spiritual wickedness in high places. These people are so wicked. And it's just now coming out. I don't know who said it or why they said it, but they said 2024 would be the year that a whole lot of things will be revealed. And one of the things that's coming out, a conspiracy theory, I don't even know if it's a conspiracy theory, because I guess classified documents can be unclassified after 50 years automatically. So the Kennedy files, classified files, came out, and before Kennedy was killed, he had brokered some kind of deal with Cuba, as far as, you know, and this is where the Cuban Missile Crisis came in, and he was keeping war at bay. But there was someone in his cabinet that understood that war had to happen. And one of the things that have come out with these documents being declassified about John F. Kennedy's assassination is that he was assassinated so that the Vietnam War could go forth. Because as long as he was alive, the war would not go forth. That's a whole nother thing. Y'all can go and look into it. I believe Roger Stone had wrote a book about it. And look into those classified CIA files, because those are now declassified. You can look at those right on the CIA website. But they don't say what I just said, but that is one of the claims that have come out. Because when you look at it, you know, I said all that to say that war has been our last ditch effort. We don't want war. No one wants war. But mess around and find out we some fighters. Now, with that said, it's very scary what America has gone through. I would say, yeah, since maybe the year 2000, but definitely in the last 10 years, the decrease in loving your country, the decrease in being proud to be an American, the decrease in just overall support of your country has gone down exponentially. And it hasn't just gone down, but now you see people attacking the very country that has given them the freedom to open up their mouth and say anything. America. This stuff that they're trying over in America, like this LGBT, the ABCDQer gang, let them go over to Palestine. And talking about queers for Palestine. Okay, queers for Street Fighter, because they will kill you. And kill you nasty. They ain't studying. That's why they call us the great Satan in the whole world. We talking out of two sides of our neck, even though we were just built on this glorious foundation of life, liberty, and property. And so I asked the question, what does freedom cost? We got a generation in America right now, they ain't had to work for nothing. They don't know the American struggle. They don't know what it is to have to work and pull yourself up from your bootstraps. I ain't never even heard no one say that in the last few years. But in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, you hear that a lot. We pulled ourselves up by our own bootstraps. But now we have an entire workforce that feels like everything needs to be given to them. Their American way is to sit back in their house, not work, have everything handed to them. And if you don't hand it to them, then they're going to talk about you and tell you how bad you are for not sharing your wealth with them, who want to absolutely do nothing. Baby, that is not the American way. We fighters up in America. We got a different kind of spirit in America. And for people to grow up right in our own generation, we dropped the ball in one of our generations. And I'm big and bad enough to say it was my generation and the generation before us, the baby boomers and Generation X. We have a lot to do with why our country and our youth coming up is the way that they are. The lack of patriotism. What does our freedom cost? Let our freedom be taken away and we're going to know how much our freedom costs. Because I'm pretty afraid that we got another civil war coming. I don't even know if it's going to be with guns, but the divide in the United States is palpable. One side's freedom is we can do whatever we want, including tearing down the infrastructure and the very foundation that America was built on. And the other one is saying, no, we must stick to the old landmark, because if we don't stick to the old landmark, we ain't going to be able to keep the country as great as we've had it. There was a Jewish lady about 4 years ago. This was right before COVID. She was like, oh, no, honey, America is on the decline. We've been on the decline for about 10 years now. But we had some great years. But America will never be what it was. America will never be what it was, y'all. You have a few fleeting starlets in Congress, in our elected offices, that are still willing to stand and fight. But while men slept, an evil, selfish spirit came upon certain Americans. And these Americans, they are definitely in office. You know, I think about AOC, and I think about the squad. I mean, treasonous behavior. Like, treason was a thing once in the day. And I absolutely believe that charges of treason, flipping on your country, whatever it is, deflecting, how you gonna be in a country that's giving you all these rights and you use your rights given by that country to tear that country down? How dare you? How dare they? This is all part of Satan's plan. Everything that God established is under attack. In America, we're under attack from the inside out. We're under attack from our own people who they will never, and it's this younger generation. They don't understand. They haven't been brought up. The ones who have been brought up, I thank God that the parents had the foresight and the knowledge to give them what they needed to be a productive member of society. But any nation that allows you the freedom to build your business, to employ people, to have your choice of whatever house you want to live in, whatever car you want to drive, whatever clothes you want to put on, just by simply honoring the social contract of showing up to work every day, making your money, pay your taxes. We all pay in this thing. We all get out equally. Feel, think, and do on American soil. And the things they choose to do with it is reprehensible. They can't even see how blessed they are just to be in America. I ain't saying that there ain't no injustices in America. Because like I said, I ain't talking about slavery, but that's really a large part of the member. The only thing that we're left to do in the face of all this is we're left to remember. Don't ever forget where you're at. Don't ever forget that you're in America. Don't ever forget that Memorial Day, which is today, celebrates the lives of every service member, the greatest military on the earth. But now you have our military having queer drag shows. I don't know how strong you're. Yeah, I'm going to say it because they calling us cis, so I'm going to call you a queer. I don't know how strong a queer soldier is. What? And you better not say nothing. And so on this Memorial Day, I just want us to continue to never take for granted, even though it's degrading, don't take for granted the power of the United States to keep freedom for now over 250 years. That's not no small feat. That is not a small feat at all. Because there is going to come a time, and we're already feeling our freedoms being infringed upon. When you have the freedom to freely threaten a people, when you have the freedom to freely tell the country and broadcast it while you're standing on that country's soil, death to America, there's something horribly wrong here. And you will fight for the freedom to tell the country that you're in, death to America? And then people are kowtowing like, yeah, oh, don't say nothing to them. They have the right to say. No, they ain't got the right to say that. They need to leave the country if they feel like it's death to America. The reason why you taking stewardship over our country. It's given us so many things. And, you know, I'm not one way or another, but I promise you I'm leaning Republican now. From now on, after I didn't see what everything these Democrats then did. But there was something someone said about New York City. And they said New York City has given us so much, and it's gotten dream marriages, dream opportunities, simply because we live in America. America has blessed us with the ability even to have a good night's sleep. Underrated blessings. It's time for us to get back to our country. And how do we get back to our country? It don't cost you nothing to be a good citizen. It don't cost you nothing to encourage people in your circle. Let's red, white, and blue it out. Let's do things that support our country. If we can see all these Adidas walking around here with their hijabs and all their cultural stuff, and that's fine, because we are a country, we're a melting pot. But where is our representation? Our patriotism? Guess what? It goes back to the government. Yeah, it's things that people done in the government that make you be like, I hate one way or another. I love my country. I love that my birthday is. I love that I have the ability to have everything to me. And we all have that ability. We all may not get the same outcome, but we all get the same opportunity. What are you going to do with your opportunity? What are you going to do with your freedom? How are you going to let your own country know how thankful you are for every opportunity that they've given us? Our country has given us some phenomenal opportunities that you will not find in any other country. Even with our medical centers, even with our educational centers, they go in the pot now, but we know, the educated ones in us here know that they're powerful entities. So again, you all have a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day. And just remember, this is America. This is our country. This is our house. I ain't studying migrants. I ain't studying no one who ain't here legally. We gonna hear about them later. We ain't gonna worry about that right now. Y'all be blessed.